Greetings and good afternoon from the Second Age of Reason. I've decided today, Friday the 13th, to talk about a controversial subject. The subject is called chemtrails. I have seen a lot about this on the internet. People have hypothesized about those lines in the sky that come from the jets in the sky, that it's not just jet exhaust, but toxic chemicals that come in the sky and they rain down on us and they make us sick and they make us dependent on things and give us troubles. While that could be possibly true, I don't think it is a smart or a likely theory, and here's why. It would imply that somebody has hazardous or toxic waste and they need to dispose of it. And they've decided that the best way to dispose of it is to stir it in and mix it in with some jet fuel and fly the jets around and get rid of it. Now, based on the chemical composition of the so-called chemtrails, I would imagine that would be a very dangerous thing to do and would be very hazardous indeed, not just in terms of the chemicals, but in terms of what it would do to the engines on a jet. It would also be a problem for mixing it with the fuel if it would even dissolve and stay suspended in the fuel long enough for it to make its way through the system without clogging the fuel lines. There are two other alternatives that may be even more likely sources of these chemicals or debris that are raining down on us. The first one, the most simplest one of all, is industry. Is there industry coming from that direction? The industrial waste, the vapors, the pollution could go literally hundreds of miles or thousands of miles to get to you. And with a 20 or 30 mile an hour wind, those chemicals could go easily 100 or 200 miles or more. They could even be coming over from China or India or who knows where. And there's one other source for this, chemicals raining down from the sky, and that would be outer space. Back in the 1980s, I worked with something called ORBDEB, Orbital Debris Database. It was from NASA, I think, and they were tracking every piece of space junk, golf ball size and larger. Nowadays, they track things to a much smaller size because even something the size of a pea that it would hit you at 18,000 miles an hour would cause a lot of damage. But all this debris is slowly falling to Earth. As it hits the atmosphere, it burns up, it chemically mutates, and falls on the Earth. It comes down at one point in the atmosphere, it probably drifts for hundreds of miles or thousands of miles and lands in your yard. So that's my take on chemtrails and contrails, but what is the real source of the chemicals that are falling on the land that we have been seeing. Well, that's all for now. Be seeing you.
I wouldn't care if I had no friends.